All right, so let's talk about something we've all heard of, right? CPP and OAS, the Canada Pension Plan and Old Age Security. But here's the thing, most of us have no idea just how powerful these two can be when you put them together. It's this hidden in plain sight engine for your retirement that is so often misunderstood.
So let's just cut to the chase. What are we actually talking about in terms of cold, hard cash? How much money could these two programs really deposit into your bank account month after month? And I don't mean just some number on a statement. I mean, what could that money actually cover? Your mortgage? Your groceries? Your bills?
Well, the answer might surprise you. It can be a pretty hefty sum. In this example, if you're someone getting near the maximum benefits and you start at age 65, you could be looking at almost $2,000 a month. But hang on, the number itself isn't even the most important part. The real magic here is that this is income for life and it's adjusted for inflation. That is a way stronger foundation than most people even realize. I like to think of it like building a house. We spend a ton of time and energy worrying about our RRSPs and TFSAs. And don't get me wrong, those are the walls and the roof. They're critical. But CPP and OAS, that's the bedrock. That's the solid, concrete foundation that the entire structure of your retirement rests on.
Okay, so to really get a handle on their combined power, we've got to break them down first, because they might sound similar, but they operate on completely different logic. They're like two totally different animals.
And the main difference is actually super simple. CPP is all about your work. How much did you pay in from your paychecks? How many years did you contribute? OS, on the other hand, couldn't care less about your job. It's all about how long you've lived in Canada. One is about what you earned, the other is about where you've lived.
So let's zoom in on CPP. This is the pension you built yourself, with every paycheck. You paid in, your employer paid in, and it all went into this plan for you. Now, that also means that your personal work history really matters. If you took time off to raise kids, had some lower income years, or were self-employed, all those things can tweak the final amount you get. Now let's flip over to old age security. For this one, you can just forget your work history. It has nothing to do with it. This is all about how many candles you've blown out on a birthday cake in Canada after you turned 18. So yeah, this one is especially important for immigrants or anyone who has spent a good chunk of time living outside the country. All right, so once you understand these two programs, you run right into one of the biggest, most important strategic decisions you will ever make for retirement. When? When do you actually start taking the money? And this is way more than just picking an age. It's a massive financial choice. And this chart shows you exactly why it's such a nail-biter. See, if you start at 65, you're looking at that nearly $2,000 monthly payment. Pretty great. But look what happens if you can hold off until age 70. Whoa, that monthly payment could jump to almost $2,800. That is a huge difference every single month for the rest of your life. And this quote just boils it all down perfectly. You're not just picking a number on a calendar. What you're really doing is making a trade-off. It's cash in your pocket sooner versus a much bigger, guaranteed for life payment later. And that's exactly why just chasing the biggest number isn't always the right move. I mean, there are so many other things you have to factor in. What about your health? Do you need the money right now? What's your spouse's situation? How does this all fit in with your other savings like RRSPs and TFSAs? And what about taxes? The right answer is completely different for everybody. So you see, this isn't some math problem where there's only one correct answer. It's more like a personal strategy puzzle. It's about figuring out how these big, important government benefits fit into the unique picture of your life and your retirement dreams. So here's a much better question to ask yourself. Forget the raw dollar amount for just a second. Ask this instead. What percentage of my real-world day-to-day budget will this income actually cover? I mean, $2,000 a month feels a whole lot different if your expenses are $3,500 than if they're $8,000, And hey, for couples, this foundation can be even more of a powerhouse. If both of you are bringing in strong benefits, that combined household income can look incredibly robust. But, and this is a really important but, you have to remember that your CPP and OAS are calculated individually. It's all based on your own unique history. Okay, so that's a lot of theory. How do we make this real for you? How do you get from these general ideas to your specific situation? Let's walk through some practical next steps you can take, like right now. Here's your checklist to go from guessing to actually knowing.
First, and this is the big one, stop guessing. Log into your Service Canada account online and get your personalized CPP estimate. It's right there, waiting for you. Second, get a clear picture of your OAS eligibility based on your residency. Third, look at how the numbers change if you start at 65 versus 67 or 70. Fourth, and you cannot skip this step, plug those real numbers into a real budget. And finally, step 5, think about the whole shebang. How does this all play with your other income sources and your overall tax situation?
So at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway? It's this. CPP and OAS can form a way stronger foundation for your retirement than you probably thought. It's stable, it's predictable, and it's there for life. But it isn't the whole solution. It's just one piece, a really, really important piece of your larger personal retirement puzzle.
And that brings us right back to the central question that only you can answer for yourself. Which matters more to you, having that cash flow start earlier or waiting for a higher payment that will last the rest of your life? There's no single right answer, which is why it's so critical to do your own homework. Now, of course, all this is just for informational purposes to get you thinking. It's not personal financial advice, so be sure to check out the official sources or talk to a qualified professional to map out the best path for your unique situation.